Hi there. Happy Mother's Day 2020. I recently visited my mom for the first time in 3 months, and I took the time to pay her back, at least a little bit, for cooking for us all those years as we grew up. So for this visit, we had a big pot of our family recipe for Italian pasta sauce, which we used to top shells stuffed with ricotta cheese. Making our family recipe meant I had some pretty big shoes to fill. Well, maybe not that big, since Mom and Nana weren't very tall. But it was good to bring back some old memories at the time when the aroma of bubbling spaghetti sauce would fill up our home. And that was a memory I was glad to share with Mom during this visit. And this is a memory I'm glad to share with you. I hope you enjoy this. Our family recipe for pasta sauce usually calls for country-style pork ribs, but there was a meat shortage in 2020 and we had to use pork shoulder instead. Boy, I just couldn't find 80-20 ground beef. It's really hard to find what you want these days, so what we ended up with is like some 90-10. So we're going to cheat a little bit and throw in a little bit of lard to increase the fat content. Because, as you say, I don't think anybody's going to complain if there might be a very slight bacon taste to it. And from here, we put together a batch of homemade meatballs.
You need 2 eggs for this? It's probably an egg per pound, you know? How much to say for breadcrumbs?
It's...
I like cheesy meatballs. Surprise, surprise.
Who doesn't like cheesy meatballs?
Did you not realize that there was a zipper on the front of this?
No, actually. I know I ruined that.
It's alright.
Down to it. Pretty much like that, yeah.
So I might throw in one more egg. You want to crack and add another egg and put it in? Oh. There you go. Yeah, it's good right there. Right there. Perfect. Yeah, just drop it right in. There we go, perfect.
Making your own meatballs is much more satisfying than just buying them at the store, as long as you don't mind getting your hands dirty.
That should be about good right there.
Okay.
Yeah. No, they definitely won't dry out. No, you gotta roll there so it'll dry out.
And now we simply roll out the meatballs. As anyone will tell you, there can never be too many meatballs in pasta sauce. It took about 20 minutes to roll out these meatballs by hand, and this way you can make them as big or small as you want. And finally, we slice up a pound of sweet Italian sausage to add more flavor and more meat to the sauce. And the hard part is done, and we get to break out an enameled cast iron Dutch oven. Cast iron is simply the best you can use for slow cooking, and here we're mixing 3 cans of crushed tomatoes with salt, pepper, oregano, and minced garlic. You can add some red wine if you want, though we don't use wine in our family recipe. And now, yes, I know this is from a commercial. We have the meats. A lot of recipes say to brown the meat in advance before adding it to the pot. More pork. That was the name of a city in the Discworld books. Ankh-Morpork. But my grandmother and great-grandmother preferred to simply add it uncooked and let the meat cook in the sauce until it was done. In this way, we're poaching the meatballs and the sausage. Actually, there was so much meat we had to add in some more tomatoes so we could stir everything around. All I can say is when this is done, I think we're going to be eating meatballs and pasta for the next few days.
I'm okay with that. I think I'll survive. Oh no, please don't.
I know, whatever shall we do? And we cover the pot and let it simmer for 2 hours. After 2 hours, we uncover it and let it simmer for another hour to reduce the liquid and thicken the sauce. And to reduce it.
Yeah, it's a bit thin now. Thicken it on up.
Mm-hmm. And now it's time to prepare the pasta shells. We boil the shells in salted water, like always, until they're not quite al dente. We're going to be stuffing these shells with cheese, so they have to be a little more firm than eating them by themselves.
Yeah.
Boy, doesn't that sound appetizing.
It'll be done. You don't gotta squeeze it in, you just gotta let it.
The stuffing is no more than mixing together ricotta cheese with 2 cups of mozzarella, half a cup of romano, and some parsley. Romano? Bit of parsley. Didn't you say you wanted to mix an egg in with this?
Well, I've done it with egg before, but it didn't. I don't know what the correct ratio, because the recipe didn't call for an egg on this one.
Okay.
This makes it more creamy. The other way makes it more dense.
Right. It's just a matter of being patient until it's all mixed in. It only takes a couple of minutes to mix together the filling. And the pasta sauce is definitely ready. The meatballs and sausages are well cooked, and the meatballs didn't come apart. We lay some of the sauce into an enameled cast iron casserole dish and prepare the shells.
Take a bundle of cheese, kind of open it with 2 fingers like this. Just put it right in.
Nice and simple.
That's why it's good to roll out the cheese ahead of time. That's what I did. I rolled it out ahead of time
Okay.
because it makes it a little bit easier to get them set.
All right. Do you want me to do that?
You can, if you want me to, I can bang it out real quick. There we go.
And she wasn't kidding. It only took a few minutes to lay out all these shells. Stuff it in, like you said,
There you go.
that it goes over the lip.
Yep. Perfect.
Just place it.
Yep.
We keep adding shells to the dish until we can't fit anymore.
There we go.
All right. Thank you once again. And then from here, we just give it another dollop. We top the shells with some of the sauce, and this will help them finish cooking in the oven. All right.
All right.
Then we top it with lots of mozzarella cheese. Whoever said there was no such thing as too much cheese, they weren't kidding. And now we bake it in the oven for 15 minutes. And with that, our stuffed shells are ready for serving. After letting them sit for a couple of minutes, we get to serve our stuffed shells hot and dripping with cheese. At this point, we can add more pasta sauce on top, but I didn't want to spoil the sight of these shells bursting with cheese. I'd gladly serve this dish on Mother's Day or any other time of the year as well. Mom wasn't feeling well when she had these stuffed shells, not because of the pandemic going on at this time, but for other reasons. However, she did enjoy them a lot, and I'm glad to have done this to make Mother's Day for 2020 memorable in a good way. And of course, I definitely recommend taking some time to do something special for your mom while you can. And in my opinion, cooking for her is one of the best ways you can do so, and let her know, I love you, Mom. Thank you for watching.